travel isn't just about destinations, it's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
You're with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856.
92.7 and 106 FM.
8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Du Melang, welcome to the show. Hope you're good. It's 5 to the weekend, so I hope the week has been going well so far. Thank you for joining us here on 702. We start with the 702 open line on 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line is 072-702-1702. Here's the question. Is Max Verstappen leaving Red Bull for Mercedes? And do you think that would be a good or a bad move, both on the side of Max and on the side of Mercedes? There are credible reports that he is in advanced talks with Toto Wolff to join Mercedes next season. And I just think this would be a blockbuster move in Formula One. Remember Kimi Antonelli, who has been brilliant since replacing Lewis Hamilton. Him and George Russell have no contract confirmed for next year. So Mercedes is clearly window shopping here. And I know Max Verstappen is contracted to Red Bull until the end of 2028, if I'm not mistaken. 2028. But my understanding is that his contract has a release clause that would allow him to leave at the end of the season if he were to be outside the top 4 in the Drivers' Championship. I think he's third now after the Austria Grand Prix. My concern, though, here is George Russell. That's the person I'm concerned about, because I think he's more likely to be sacrificed should Verstappen make the switch to Mercedes, because he has not been announced for next year, which is highly unusual because he's doing a brilliant job for Mercedes. He's currently 4th in the Drivers' Championship. He's a long-standing Mercedes driver, and he's picked up the mantle so beautifully after Lewis Hamilton's exit. So for him to be hanging there still without clarity as we head into the halfway point of the season is quite unusual. So what do you think of this potential move by Max to Mercedes if you're a big Formula One fan? Is it a big gamble? Is it too risky? Because I think what is likely influencing him is probably the major regulation changes that are set for the next season, when the new power units will be introduced, because it's believed Mercedes are the front runners in this respect. I know Red Bull as well would be manufacturing their own power units for the first time. So who's going to have a faster car after the regulation changes is really the driving force here. So what do you think of this potential move? Let me know, please. I hope Mercedes knows what it's getting itself into here, because Max comes with a little bit of baggage. He's not the easiest person to handle, and he's broken his teammates. So good luck to Mercedes. I mean, he is a great driver. Don't get me wrong. I've never questioned that. But he does come with some baggage. Let me know your thoughts. Another issue I want us to chat about on the open line this morning, and I'm interested in your thoughts on, is what the Correctional Services Minister, Pieter Groenewald, has said. We touched a bit on it yesterday, but he has now clarified the suggestion that is made for bringing back corporal punishment for individuals who are unable to afford bail for minor offenses in order to alleviate overcrowding in prisons. He was on the midday report yesterday with Mandy Winner. So what I'm going to do is play you that interview. Here, listen to how he justifies it, right? How he explains it, and then let me know your thoughts on his clarification. Do you understand where he's coming from? I'm also going to bring in the inspecting judge of correctional services, Justice Edwin Cameron as well, who I must tell you disagrees with the suggestion by the correctional services minister.
Clement Manyathela, streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856
92.7
and 106 FM.
Bunny, you calling us from Brakpan. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Clement.
Sure.
Yes, man. Yeah, it's like this movie is like 5-6 years too late for me. As you say, if you're really staunch F1 fan,
Yeah.
understanding the sport at the level that the driver is not just a driver. Some of these guys come with engineering background, degrees, etc. And my comment was, Mercedes had an opportunity to sign Max when he was much younger. I think it was into his second season when Bottas was underperforming. And what a lot of people don't know or understand is when you saw the shift happen when Red Bull started moving closer to Mercedes, is because they lost someone like Rosberg. And people don't know that Rosberg is actually an engineer, a thorough engineer. So in aerodynamics, you can actually build rocket ships. And when they lost that edge, when they lost Rosberg, is when Red Bull, and also with the new changes in the car, moving from hybrid to all these fancy names that they have. And I suspect that Max is going to give them that edge again.
Yeah.
Because there's new regulations coming in. And you were just spot on. I was just telling your producer that you were spot on because they're already sacrificing George. If you looked at the report this morning, Mercedes is only offering George a 1-year contract plus an extension of another 1 year depending on his performance.
Yeah.
So they're clearly moving in a direction where I think Max is going to lead that team. Max has never been beaten by a teammate. So by the way,
he doesn't like being beaten by a teammate.
No, he's just that competitive sports person. I liked him. As I said, 5-6 years ago, I really liked him, but then obviously Abu Dhabi happened, and that just the whole thing left
changed everything.
Sour taste.
Yeah, true. Bunny, thanks for your thoughts, brother. I don't think Max is a team player at all. So I worry about that. But I also, my biggest concern in all of this for me, honestly, is George Russell. Because I think George has been brilliant in Mercedes from the time when Lewis Hamilton was really not performing. George was was representing Mercedes. He was holding the fort for Mercedes. And since Lewis has left, George has really been doing well. And with the circumstances that he's faced with. And the fact that Mercedes are seemingly willing to sacrifice him, should they take on Max. But also Kimi Antonelli. He's a young boy. How old is Kimi? 18, 19? He's a brilliant young man who is a future star for Mercedes. Do you think Max is going to be an incredible team player to Antonelli as a mentor? I think that there's potential, that he may break him, like he's broken some of his teammates. Here are some of your WhatsApp voice notes.
Morning, Clement, and good morning to my fellow 702 listeners. I'm very, very excited about the prospects of Max joining Mercedes-Benz. I like our current drivers, but if I'm being totally honest, I don't think that neither of them are going to take us where we belong. And so I think Max will, provided that they don't spend all the money on trying to get him out of his current contract with Red Bull. I am for it. I'm very, very excited. I've always admired Max, even when he was competing with Lewis. I admire his driving. And so, I'm very excited, very, very excited. I hope Toto can make it work.
Yeah, I bet you they're going to pay so much money. They're going to pay so much money to bring him up. Land on the WhatsApp line says, Clement, we don't want Max at Mercedes. We're okay with Kimi and George Boy. Max is a finished product. Well, Toto doesn't seem to agree with you, Len, because he's in advanced talks with him. It's 19 minutes after 9.
Your voice,
Your station.
your open line
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela.
on 702.
Clemmy, goeiemorgen man. Floris here from the Western Cape. Clemmy, so yeah, just imagine a 14-year-old steal a bread because he was hungry. And now he get caned. And because he cannot afford a 1,000 rand bail. And then another 14-year-old steal a microwave, a TV, and then he doesn't get caned because his parents can afford a 1,000 rand bail. Crime is crime. So yeah, we need to fix society, the ills in society. We live in a criminal, violent society, and it needs to start at home. Parents should start taking responsibility. It starts at home, how they act and what they do in front of their kids. Have a good job, bye-bye.
Yeah, and as parents, aren't you asking your children questions about where they're getting the money from? When they see that they're buying pizzas. I mean, News 24 says some of the students they've spoken to, they use the money to just get pizzas. One of the students bought a fridge for their mom. Don't you ask your kids where they're getting the money from? I think we need to be more vigilant because this is addictive. It is. And it's very easy for these young ones who are younger than 18 to bypass the system, because on these gambling sites, of course, you've got to be 18 years older. Sometimes they use your own IDs as parents or their older siblings' IDs to get access, and they start betting. That's a serious concern, the issue of online gambling, and we're going to talk about it at 11 o'clock. But take a listen to other WhatsApp voice notes on the Correctional Services Minister and the suggestion that is made.
Hey, Clement. Yeah, just with regards to the corporal punishment, I love the idea of a criminal being beaten as much as the next guy. But I think there's a large amount of research that shows that that sort of punitive measure actually doesn't reduce crime. It doesn't rehabilitate. And frankly, I'm not sure it's humane in a society we want to live in. You can't just beat people into good behavior. That's not how it works. They're not children. As much as I think there is an overcrowding problem, the problem exists way before that down the chain. There's a reason they're sitting in jail for 3 years waiting for trial. That's what needs to be fixed. We're fixing it at the wrong side.
Yeah.
Hey, morning, Clement. Over in Fostervast. Clement, I think Groenewald has a point here about this overcrowding in the cells. Not only that, Clement, you see, if we can introduce such, corruption will go down. Let's say, for instance, Clement, a traffic cop catches you, then you have offensed. The reason why we take bribe, we don't have confidence into the justice system. Once they take your fingerprints, Clement, you'll be a criminal forever. So instead of maybe 2 lashes because you jump a red robot, then it's all your case is done, or maybe a spot fine, something like that. That's why people will keep on buying them cold drinks, because we know that once your fingerprints are taken, you won't see justice, even though they were wrong. So it goes back to the same thing, that even during the July looting, people stole small things. Instead of getting 2 lashes, then they are off. That person, once they take your fingerprints, Clement, you are on the criminal, this records forever. And to get your name off there, it's a long process. So we need something that will be quicker, because it's petty crimes. You have stolen something small, or you have done a small offense, spot fine or something that we do and finish quickly. Thank you.
Yeah. Look, and to be clear, I absolutely disagree with this suggestion by the Correctional Services Minister. I think it's cruel to subject people to that. I think it's barbaric. I think it's backward. We live in a violent society. Our society is too violent. Extremely. And we can't institutionalize violence like that. But then again, the minister is trying to say, let's open up the debate, because keeping people who have committed minor crimes in prison isn't also ideal. So I get the minister's concern, which has been raised many times by many people, even people like Justice Cameroon, because keeping them in jail, they face the risk of sexual assault. Some of them may be recruited into gangs, the trauma that's associated with that. So being there destabilizes their lives. So what's the solution? Take a listen to the Correctional Services Minister speaking to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report yesterday. This is how he explained this suggestion.
I want to try and understand what you mean by corporal punishment. Are we talking here about giving 100 lashes for stealing a loaf of bread?
No.
What because that's where your mind goes immediately. How do you define corporal punishment?
No. That's not no. The maximum standard always was 6.
But you're talking lashes, right? Like a shambok, like you're going to get cuts. Like, is that really?
No. Let me explain. And we had that situation. I know people who receive lashes. You get, for instance, 6 lashes with a heavy cane or 6 lashes with a light cane. It is very under good supervision where it takes place. And it is a matter from it. The court must decide how many lashes of what type of a cane. And that is the effect of what I meant when I said corporal punishment. You cannot go out that standard, and it has always been like that. These days, let me say when I was young. And,
but Minister, it was a different time. It was a different era. I mean, doesn't it just perpetuate violence? It's a bit barbaric.
No, I know that will be a view. It is a view. That's why I said let's open the debate, because there are also other views. And what I wanted to say when I was young, I don't want to go back to apartheid, because I know that is what most people maybe will think. The fact of the matter is that when I was at university, then there was, for the first year students, you have to go and get some fruit. In fact, it means you don't steal some fruit. If they caught you those days, you could have received lashes. But, today, you go to court and you are putting amongst people some becoming hard criminals. And I say again, from a humane perspective, from whether it is barbaric or not, is it not more barbaric to keep a person in an overcrowded facility awaiting trial?
What about community service?
Well, of course, we want to do community service. And I said it, I'm on record many times, that we must ensure that, fixing potholes, for instance, and everything. But again, with our budget constraints, you must always also remember, the moment you take a team out, you need more wardens to go with them to ensure that there's tight security. So we need more of those people. We're going to start with that. We already started with some other pilot places, very few, but I want to expand that, and I want to enhance that community service. I'm also working, for instance, on when it comes to parolees, but okay, that's another discussion. But the fact of the matter is, this is specific for our juveniles and specific for remand detainees.
Yeah, so that's how he explained it on the Midday Report. Oh, yeah, I'm just getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because I'm actually trying to remember when this system was implemented also during apartheid, like, were there white people being given lashes as well for these minor crime? I mean, the majority were definitely black people, right? And not because the majority of people are black, because, we lived in a system where we were subhuman, basically. We were sub-citizens in this country. So it really, 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 sends shivers down my spine just thinking about how in 2025, that's still something we think could work. I get where the minister's coming from in as far as trying to find a solution here, because you've got overcrowding in our prisons and some of these crimes are minor. But what happens when you beat someone up who's innocent? So that means what's that saying? Innocent until proven guilty. Well, that's not going to work in this instance, is it? But also some people go and steal bread because they're hungry. This is not to say crime is justified. I'm trying to make a point that you beat them up, but they're still poor. You haven't changed anything, right? So in a violent society like that, institutionalizing violence like that, is that really the solution? Abraham, you're calling us from Soshanguve. What do you think?
Good morning. How are you?
Sure, man. Go ahead.
So, look, I think we need to understand the purpose of bail. I think the purpose of bail is to secure the attendance of the accused court again. Now, if you give you lashes, are you saying that I'm guilty already? Because the mere fact that I've stolen, but who said I'm guilty?
Good question.
You see, because with bail money, remember you can go back and get your refund from the court. But if you give me lashes, what is it that I'm going to get back from you?
Exactly.
And we were talking about corporal punishment that was being cancelled at school. So now what happens now if a teacher is giving a child a corporal punishment? Is that teacher going to be given corporal punishment again? So we are contradicting ourselves here.
Yeah. Abraham in Soshanguve, thanks for your call.
Good morning, Clement. I'm not sure when you play the minister's explanation whether it will go along with what I'm saying. This corporal punishment thing, it shouldn't be, as far as I understand corporal punishment. They should make them do community service without being paid, under supervision, of course, for a certain period of time. If it's 6 months, 5 months, 3 months, let them do community service, hard labor, at the same time teaching them how to work, do gardening wherever, cleaning government buildings, gardens, and all those things. Let them do that. Go to civil societies, organizations, and do community service instead of corporal punishment. You can't beat somebody. Because at school I was beaten when I was growing up, but I still went to school. So they will be beaten and will still do crime. So let them do something productive while they are learning something as well themselves. That's all I'm saying. Sindile.
Hi, Clement. It's Rudolph here from Alberton. I'm just thinking about what that guy said about that Minister of the Correctional, if you know what he said. I believe a child needs to get hiding from his parents, not abuse the child, not hit him nearly dead. In Proverbs, it says, Proverbs 13, verse 24, it says, spare the rod, then you hate your child. I mean, like, when we were younger and we were naughty, disrespectful or whatever, your parents reset you back to factory resetting. And I mean, like, I don't know if it happened to you, but when we were growing up, you got a hiding if you were naughty.
9:31. Let's get the latest in Eyewitness News headlines. When we come back, we'll hear from more of your calls and WhatsApp.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabocha, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
24 minutes before 10 o'clock. Let's continue with your calls on 011-883-0702. I've been asking you about Max Verstappen's potential move to Mercedes. What do you think of that? And of course, this suggestion by the Correctional Services Minister, Pieter Groenewald, that let's bring back corporal punishment for people who are awaiting trial, who have committed minor crimes, and that would be the solution to dealing with overcrowding. I mean, who would agree to even administer that? Yeah, it's quite something else, right? Let's start with your WhatsApp voice notes on 072-702-1702.
Hi, good morning, Clement. I think we'll all be surprised how many people will be for that lashing. I'm not for it because I think it's just a waste of time. And who's going to do the lashing? Imagine all that energy exerted just to whoop someone. No. But our communities are already doing that. If you get caught stealing or doing whatever in any of our informal settlements, the community beats you up before they hand you over to the police. So, I don't know. Is it the fact that our law enforcers can't do it and that we as citizens are allowed to do it?
Clement, morning, Brian here. Yeah, listen, when we were laties, so like I'm 60 now. So when we were 15, 14, 12 years old, you feared going to the cops for checks, but it was a fear. So choose right or wrong. And when you went for a hiding, trust me, you got a hiding. So it wasn't just about black people, it was for everybody.
Hi, Clement. I think it's Tutugani here from Tembisa. I think, I'm more of support of the community service route, because I feel if we would use that route, then these guys would be service to society and also get a chance to learn a skill in the process. Maybe get them to do some community service. That would also help the government to cut down on some expenditure. For example, the other guy was saying maybe clean government buildings, do gardens in the government building. So you don't have to hire people to do that. You can get those guys to do all that work and then cut down on that expenditure. In a way, they are giving back to society.
Good morning, Clement. It's David here in Durban. With regards to the Minister Groenewald proposal or suggestion of corporal punishment, that thing will not work. I mean, how are you going to explain someone 14, 15 or 18 who has committed a crime of some sort like murder, and you're going to maybe do corporal punishment on them and just whiplash them? I think Groenewald needs to come to the right senses of turning prisons into hotels. They need to make sure that people suffer when they're in prison, so that when they come out, they know, don't commit crime, because it's not going to be a honky-dory. You get a bed and breakfast in South African prison. People must fear the prison. Put me in contact with the minister, and I've got nice suggestions that will keep people out of prisons. Thank you.
Thank you for your suggestion. So to be clear, the minister says this would be for minor crimes. 1, 2. Look, we have a constitutional democracy. We believe in human rights, right? So even when you are in prison, you still enjoy human rights. Of course, there are certain rights that get taken away from you, your right to freedom of movement. I mean, there are a number of rights that get taken away from you when you're in prison. You can't move as you wish. You are in this confined area. You eat what is cooked for you. There's a lot that makes prisons difficult. And maybe you're suggesting that let's make it more harsher. But we can't do that to a point that it starts impacting on people's human rights. But still, we need to find other solutions. I mean, did you hear that we're spending 11 million rand on foreign nationals who have committed crimes? That's a lot of money. One of the suggestions he had is that let's take them back to their countries of origins. Let them go serve time there. Isn't that a sensible solution? Because that is going to help reduce the overcrowding in our prisons. We need to start having conversations with countries where foreign nationals, right, and I'm talking specifically about those that do not have the papers, like that are illegal, right, and understand, of course, the complexity of some people have just been struggling to get their documents because there's just so much corruption at Home Affairs that they're expected to pay 20,000 rand even to get something legitimately, to be put, in the front of the line. But let's have a conversation with the countries where most of the people who are committing crimes are coming from, so that they get deported there, they can serve their sentences there. Isn't that the collaboration we need between countries? Joe, you calling from the Val. Good morning.
Good, Clement, brother.
Sure. Go ahead.
Clement, I'm thinking that this thing that Minister is saying is true to a certain extent, especially this one of community service, because it impacts so many departments. I'm making a simple example. Let's say someone is arrested for shoplifting. The police vehicle standing there at that shoplifting and processing or arresting that particular criminal, it will take maybe at least 2 hours to open the docket, detain this person and so forth. And you find a person has actually stolen something that worth 2 rand. I'm making an example. But previously, you'd find that that particular shop, they'll make a person to clean. And the person will not commit the same crime. I'm not trying to say maybe there must be human and stuff or speak on behalf of the police, but I'm thinking really it can help in so many ways, because really the way things are happening, even the court system get clogged, because this particular person who's arrested for shoplifting will be there, will be detained, will go to court. Then it just doesn't make any sense. So I support community thing, man. Yeah, community thing will help a lot. That car that is standing there, that shop, can actually prevent haste. Instead of standing for 2 rand for shoplifting at a certain store there, it was supposed to be on the road preventing haste or maybe even serious crimes. So really we need to think about it.
Got you. Joe in the Vaal. In fact, let me let you listen to Justice Edwin Cameron, who is the inspecting judge of Correctional Services, because I asked him to come in quickly on the show, but he was going to be in a meeting. So I pre-recorded this interview with him quickly before we went live at 9 o'clock, just to get what his thoughts are on these suggestions and what he thinks the solutions are to dealing with overcrowding in our prisons. And then I'm going to come back to more of your calls and WhatsApps. Justice Cameron, thank you so much for making time for us. Good morning.
Always a pleasure to be speaking to you, Clement, and to 702's listeners.
So you are one person who knows a lot about, of course, how overcrowded our prisons are. You constantly interact with these issues as the inspecting judge of Correctional Services. What do you make of this suggestion by the Minister of Correctional Services to bring back corporal punishment as a way to deal with overcrowding in our prisons?
Clement, the Minister raises a really troubling issue, and I actually support his raising it. And the reason is not that I support his conclusion, but that I think it's a real debate that we South Africans should be having. And let me explain why. We have an alternative which the Minister's raised. You either beat someone, which is cruel and one might say barbaric, or you put them into Pollsmoor, into overcrowded cells where they are at risk of pathogens, of sexual assault, of being recruited into gangs. And to me, that's a real dilemma. I know where I come down, because I think our society is so violent that we should not have authoritative, institutionalized more violence. But I'm on the side of the Minister in this, simply that he has raised an issue. And if his issue makes us, the public, think more about how we should improve conditions in prisons rather than have to resort to the barbaric method of beating people, then I'm glad he's done it.
Yeah, and of course, some of the members of parliament have joined this debate, and some are suggesting that maybe community service is the way to go. Could that be the solution here?
Definitely. But for community service to work, you need competent, uncorrupt, hardworking people, and we have those in the prison system, the personnel. I've said it before, but I fear that until we have competent people, not deployees, not shady people who are recycled again and again into our governmental efforts and initiatives, until we have those, I'm not sure that is going to work. But the idea is wonderful and I support it.
What about the issue of foreign nationals? I think one of the things he revealed is that we're spending about 11 million rand a day on foreign nationals who are arrested. I'm not sure if these are the ones that are awaiting trial, but the suggestion is maybe we need to start having conversations with the countries where these foreign nationals are coming from. How would that look like? Is that something that's possible in your view?
Clement, let me confirm the Minister's figure. We've got about 22,000 non-nationals. I don't call them foreigners because many of these people are brothers and sisters and cousins from Lesotho and Botswana and Zimbabwe and Mozambique, they speak the same languages as our official languages. So I prefer to call them non-nationals. 11,000 awaiting trial, and about the same number who've already been sentenced. Now, your question to me is, should we be speaking to our neighboring states? And the answer is definitely.
Yeah, to be deported, and just to clarify, to be deported to those countries, their countries of origin, to serve their terms.
Correct, Clement. And we've taken up the cases of many foreign nationals who say, I'm ready for parole, but they're not willing to give me parole and they're not willing to deport me. So we've taken up those cases. We've tried to have meetings with Home Affairs. We've tried to have meetings with other agencies, with the Border Management Agency, to find a solution to that. But can I say one last thing, and I don't want to weigh your listeners too much. There's an underlying problem in Trump's America and in Southern Africa. The people who flock to us are looking for sustenance, which is what each of us want to do. And as I said previously, many of them have relatives, many of them have deep roots in South Africa. So I think we should go back a step and say, what are the root causes in those countries that we want to deport them to? And what can our government do to fix those root causes? There was strong political allegations when President Mbeki, and this I know from my time as a constitutional court judge, he and Minister Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma refused to say that the 2000 election was violently stolen from the people of Zimbabwe. Whereas my colleagues, Sisi Kampepe and Justice Moseneke, said that. So are we responsible in any way for the dysfunction that brings those non-nationals into our country? That's a question I'd love your viewers to give their views on, your listeners, Clement.
Yeah, absolutely. We've spoken so extensively about what our role has been to the destabilization that we've seen in other countries, which has then led to people flocking here for opportunities, because we chose to what? Just keep quiet and prioritize the brotherhood instead of calling out and taking key good action. Thank you so much for making time for us, Justice Cameron. I really appreciate it.
Clement, can I just say you're braver than I am? You've stated it more robustly than I dared to do.
Nah, I can never be braver than you.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day. Cheers.
Your voice.
Your station.
Your open line.
Walk the talk with Clement Manyathela
on 702.
8 minutes before 10 o'clock. Papla, you're calling from Easteras. What are your thoughts on the minister's suggestion? Good morning.
Morning, Clement. You know, Clement, I nearly dropped the phone because what Judge Cameron said summed up 100% how I feel about the situation. I really have nothing to add. But what I wanted to say, just from my own perspective, you know, Clement, as a youngster, you know, we were also naughty. I also had run out of the law. I was also arrested and stuff. And I could see that how dangerous it can be by being locked up in a cell with other guys and people that you don't know. You know, like you said, the sexual crimes can just so easily be. And then what will that trauma be? You've stolen a chocolate now. Now you've been locked up, and now there you get raped. Now we have to deal with all those things. Your social situation, why you steal the chocolate. Now we have to do the why you were raped. How do you deal with being raped as a boy, as a young man? So the minister and what Judge Cameron said, you know, he just wants us maybe to think something else. You know, like I remember when we were very young, there were things of lashes, and I think it scared us that the fact that you will get lashes, you know, and the thing gets over quickly. You get arrested on a Friday, maybe next week Monday you get your lashes, and the thing is over. Not being locked up without bail for long periods and have a criminal record and can't find a job again. So all those things is what the minister wants us to think and talk about.
All right. Papla in Easteras, thank you for your thoughts. Tsepo, let's start first with Elmon in Pretoria. Elmon, hi.
Hello, Mr. Clement. How are you?
I'm all right, man. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that I agree with the minister to say the corporal punishment should come back, because for me, I think that is the only solution that will actually keep people out of prison. And I also want to agree with one of the listeners who came to say we need to make it difficult to commit crime by making sure that people that are in prison do not really enjoy the luxury of being in prison. Thank you.
Right, Elmon, Tsepo in Tembisa, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Sure.
Good. Personally, I blame our government for giving prisoners human rights. You know, once you do crime, you know that is wrong. By the time you get arrested, you forfeited your human rights when you got arrested. Because Clement Manyathela is working very hard, and then he buys his car. Tsepo comes and takes it, and Tsepo, after gets arrested, get behind bars and live a lavish lifestyle. He can go to school, go to gym. We have people who cannot afford to universities, which means those kids must book.
Oh, Tsepo, I'm sorry, man. The line is bad there, but I think we got the point. You're worried about just people going to prisons and living lavish lifestyles there. Unfortunately, your line is breaking there. Let's wrap up with these WhatsApp voice notes.
Clement, Mpo here. Why do we always have to raise issues as South Africans? This burden is just so much for South Africans, not only for the government, but for South African citizens. Surely these neighboring countries, they also need to take responsibility. And what is our government doing to confront them and say, these are the issues that we are facing. Our prisons are full. Illegal immigrants are roaming our streets. What are they doing to make sure that their citizens, neighboring countries, their citizens take responsibility, their governments take responsibility as well? Because surely this is not sustainable for us. It is not sustainable, Clement. It's just not sustainable. You know, we're talking about it today. I can tell you now, in 10, 15 years' time, this thing will become something else. Mpo here.
Good morning, Clement. You know, with regard to sending these guys after transgressing on our laws, an argument might arise from their country, which says, you guys with your lenient constitution allow these people to do all sorts of crimes, and when now they have to pay for it, then you bring them to us. Make sure that your laws are restrictive in a way that would deter them from doing all sorts of crimes, so that they don't commit crime and now have to be sent to us for imprisonment.
Morning, Clement. Yeah, no, it's nice to be politically correct. As much as Mr. Groenewald is wrong to suggest such, but those who are living in the townships, more importantly in the informal settlement, they go through this every day. People are being killed, people are being maimed by communities who take the law into their own hands. And in the townships, it's very easy for you to be given a life sentence by people who just shoot you for nothing. And nothing is happening. No one is saying anything. But when such things are brought to light, then we become politically correct, and then we want to criticize such things when the communities around our country are living under such conditions more severely than what Mr. Groenewald is suggesting. Thank you.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
My name is Papla from Easters. I listen to Clement, Mandy, and Stephen. And 702 is my source of information. And I just love listening to it. I've been listening to 702 for many years. And I'm looking forward to listen to many more to come. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts.
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Quiet, please.
With 50% off on limited Tennis Town tickets, no wonder Amex card members are so thrilled. Enjoy a world-class tennis experience at Monte Casino between 11 and 13 July 2025. Buy your tickets for Amex Tennis Town online today at howler.co.za for the Championships Wimbledon experience with the Mzansi advantage. Tennis is better with Amex.
Walk with purpose, work with proud. Walk the talk with 702 this July, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane. 702 Walk the Talk hits the streets on Sunday, the 27th of July. And this year we're walking loud, proud, and full of Mzansi magic. Expect the djembe drums, the brass bands, dancers, stilt walkers, even surprise appearances by Zola and Ishmael along the way, thanks to Made in Mzansi. Choose your distance from the strong 8 kilometer, the 6.7 kilometer for Mandela Month, or you can choose the gentle, family-friendly 4 kilometer stroll. Entries are 360 Rand for adults, 200 Rand for kids under 12. Register now on primemediaplus.com. Let's walk with memory, with music, and with meaning. The 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. Clashes have broken out between police and motorists in Roodepoort as Gauteng law enforcement officers intensify stop and search operations under the banner of Operation Chanela. Officers stopped cars, delivery bikes.
Travel isn't just about destinations. It's about the people you meet, the cultures you immerse yourself in, the stories you carry home. I'm Relebogile Mabotja, and on my travel feature, I take you on a journey beyond the guidebook. Each week, I connect with fellow travelers, insiders, and storytellers to bring you the heart of every place. Whether it's a hidden gem right here in South Africa or a dream destination abroad. Join me as we travel through conversations, memories, and inspiration. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.